how do you fix the imposter syndrome and your top 3 tips?
Okay. The first thing is you don't fix it. So let's get very real with this, Kristof. You don't fix it. I've worked with people over the last 20 years, some of them in the public eye, some of them running big companies. I don't think I've met one person yet who doesn't run imposter syndrome in some shape or format. Wow. That sense of not being good enough, not feeling worthy enough, lacking confidence. There's different phrases we can put on it. Now, that doesn't mean, that we're wearing imposter syndrome as a badge all the time. It's stuff that can creep up on us at different times. It can be situational. But the first thing we can do with it is acknowledge it for what it is. I'm a great believer in being able to label something, and then it's confined, and then you can do something with it. One of the, I suppose, foundations of imposter syndrome is the assumption that other people know more than we do. And to some extent, that's true. I mean, no one knows everything. And maybe on particular topics, people have different levels of expertise. But I remember having a chat with a lady I went to college with many years ago, and she had gone through academia and was a PhD. And she was contemplating doing another one. And I said to her, what will that second doctor get for you that you don't currently have, other than enjoying the process of learning, etc.? Oh, and she said, when I get it, I won't feel as much of an imposter. And I'm going, oh no, because then you could have 10 PhDs and it has nothing to do with imposter syndrome. So a few practical tips in this area. As I say, Kristof, the first thing to do is to acknowledge it, to label it, and to become the witness of it. That gives us a bit of space from it, so I can observe my patterns and tendencies. It's like, oh, there I go again, playing that old record. Often in this area, I think it's a bit like, the way our phones and our laptops are upgraded every so often. I think in this area, we often need an upgrade when it comes to mindset or mental habits. And that breathing tip works here as well. Let me calm myself down, get into witness position, acknowledge that I'm doing it. I would follow that up then. This is one of my personal favorites in this area, by being brave enough to ask myself, what exactly am I fearful of here? Because it's all based on fear. We can use watered down words like nervousness and anxiousness and worry and imposter syndrome or, lack of confidence. It's ultimately based on fear. So what exactly am I fearful of here? Let me look at that head on and name and shame it as well. Because if I bring that into consciousness, and that will be an emotive thing, the rational brain can then observe it more logically, and maybe it won't be as all-consuming. One of the biggest fears that we all run, and for me, this is at the heart of imposter syndrome, is the fear that other people will be judging me negatively. Think of that with an interview, for example. Oh, the interviewers will be judging me negatively. Oh, if they ask me this question and I take a moment to gather my thoughts, or if I go blank and I repeat myself or something, they will be thinking of me negatively. Or as a presenter, if I'm standing at the top of the room, I'm running the assumption that they're coming in and will be judging me negatively. Whereas if we label that, Kristof, the reality is people don't care that much about us.
Absolutely.
They're more interested in what will I be saying, or what's in this for me, or what will I be having for me lunch. They're not really caring that much about how we're feeling. But if we acknowledge that bit, I'm running the assumption that they will be judging me negatively. In that moment, you're the only one who's actually doing negative judgment, because you're judging them negatively, and we're projecting it onto them. Now that's a deep life lesson. That one is an aha moment. Yeah. The last little tip I would share, and there's probably several I can give, but one that comes to mind is just readjusting the balance between honesty and modesty. So most of us would like to view ourselves as being modest people, and that's nice. Let other people speak about our accomplishments or our qualities. But so often that scales between honesty and modesty is not even. Like we can maybe be very honest in terms of how we speak about our weaknesses or what we're not so good at, but we're far less honest when it comes to owning our achievements or owning our experiences, owning our skill sets. And as a phrase that tends to work for me, let's forget about imposter syndrome. Let me just look at recalibrating or rebalancing the relationship between honesty and modesty. And of course, at an interview, well, honesty is the best policy. But at an interview, we do have to speak more honestly or more accurately about our strengths and our achievements, and we have to own them. But I think that's a broader, that's something that we can lean into more broadly as well. So just that rebalance between honesty and modesty is the last tip I would leave with you on that one.
Perfect. Again, James, actually, I wanted to quote you, but you actually touched the subject. One of the most inspiring things for me from your talks about imposter syndrome is we're feeling of not being good enough. And what you said, that we're judging our people. We think that other people judging us, but in reality, we're judging them. So that's very interesting what you said. For me, it was something really, really amazing.
That one, when we get it, Kristof, I think is huge. Because we're projecting our thought patterns onto them, and we're blaming them for our thought patterns.
Absolutely, and this awareness has such a huge power. You said also something like, it's a hard work, not only hard work. So you need to remember that it's coming from your heart.
So coming from the heart. Because, and that would link into the courage piece as well. Courage from the Latin meaning or courage from the Latin cur meaning heart. So it's like I find the heart to put into it. And how would I say it? There's another quote of mine that I think, I go back to time and time again is, we all run the pattern, Kristof, of waiting to be found and waiting to be found out. So it's like we want to be discovered for the brilliant genius that we are. But at the same time, we don't want to be found out and being seen as less than. And I think life is a bit of a dance between the two of those.
Wow, absolutely. And the last thing, what you said today, we need that upgrade from time to time. Something very important to remember. Just
some new habits, because they can become outdated. So I often use that analogy of our phone. My phone will get more upgrades than my mindset does.
Feel free to join our LinkedIn group. Hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you.